Alright, so here I'm going to show you how to make an adaptive feedback type quiz. This is a situation where if you've already made quiz questions, you'll be able to do stuff like this. If you haven't made those quiz questions yet, this isn't the end of the world. It's something I want to kind of show you the possibilities of what's out there, and then as you start using Moodle more and more, you'll be able to start to see applications for some of these things. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'll just go back to my example course that I've done in the past. Me and one of my buddies made this course for a professional development presentation we were giving on Moodle, using Moodle in the classroom. So you can tell this is a quiz, and I'm just going to attempt the quiz. I'm logged in as a teacher, so it allows you to attempt the quiz. So here's an example of a calculated question. I'm not going to actually do these. I'm just going to type something in here. And this is an algebra example. Again, I'm not going to do these. This gives us x and z. So you'd use your Pythagorean theorem. It's going to be somewhere around like 9.5. Probably not exactly, but. Then over here, this is a type of a closed question. So I was able to include more than one type of question in the same question. This is in a language arts example. So when George kills Lenny, he does this to, I believe that's correct. It's been a while since I read that book. You can see this is a different example where we've got an image here, M.C. Escher. The waterfall is, I don't know, relative probably, and the concept is no, that's conflicting. Concept is the Penrose. Here's an image. This is a drag and drop type question. So again, I'm not going to sit here and do all of these. Just going to go see how this works. And then we've got another drag and drop. So this is a PE example. Our purpose was to try to essentially get all types of questions that a teacher might use in this example. So branches of government. This is Spanish. I'll have to do all of those. I'll probably get them wrong anyway. Here's some social studies, looks like. So the type of war. And then here, this is physics. So something like this. Tells you you're incomplete. Again, I'm just doing this to show you some things. So you can see I got a 3.9 out of 10. Took me 2 minutes, 45 seconds, 39%. Notice this feedback here. This feedback, it says use the feedback given to learn where you went wrong. You can read it. This feedback is unique to my score. So had I gotten a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, I would have gotten different feedback here. In fact, I'll show you in a minute what that other feedback would be. But what I want to show you also is this right here. So what we did was we went in, as we wrote the question, we put in an image, and the image links. It's the same image, but it links to where we can get help solving this problem. And I'll show you this as well. So here, if I got this question wrong, I clearly need some help with this. I can click on the help button.
Okay, so
in this case, it takes me to the exact question. Somebody has already done this. I didn't do it. Somebody has already done this. They've explained the equation, and in 3.5 minutes, they can have the correct answer here with this lady explaining it to them. Now, let's say, that's wrong. Let's say I got some more right, and I needed help with this one, Spanish. Okay, so here's again, the last one gave them a little more help. This one doesn't necessarily give them the exact, like they'd have to go find it, but it still has narrowed down where they can get help from. Well, those were lucky 3, huh? If we look here, well, there's 4 places we can go get help. On this one, there's a video and a website. So maybe I want to go to the website so I can look at how to solve this problem. And maybe that's not quite enough. So maybe I want to go to the video so we can see this problem or a similar problem being solved. So this gives individual feedback based on the question. This gives individual feedback based on the score on the quiz. So there's 2 places we can go to figure this out. And the first one is I'm going to show you how to individualize your feedback based on their score. To do that, I'm going to need to go back to the example on the home page. And in here, I'm just going to click on Edit Settings for my quiz. Now, if I come down to, let's see here. So expand all of these. You can see I've set certain things. In this specific one, you can see my overall feedback. If they have between a 90 and a 100, this is what they get for feedback, and I can actually link, and that link takes them to a page. So here, I'll copy this. That link takes them to a page that is an extension activity. So now I made a new page that only the people who got between a 90 and a 100 will see. They can play this game, they can answer these questions, all from PhET, but you only get access to those if you scored between a 90 and a 100. If you scored between a 70 and a 90, this is your feedback. Between a 30 and a 70, this is your feedback. That must have been what we got. And below a 30, let's not work on your own. Why don't you come see me? We got something we have to figure out. So this was overall feedback on the score of the quiz itself. This is another thing that this quiz didn't have, but you can change this. So you can change this to adaptive mode, where if they get a question wrong, so they can, as soon as they answer one of the questions, they could hit check. If they got it wrong, they could retry the question. Now you can do adaptive no feedback or no penalties, adaptive penalties. So maybe you want to do, if you get a question wrong, you can do it again, but your maximum score the second time around is 70%. And then you can do it again, your maximum score is a 30%, something like that. But you get to select all of those things. That's another way to make it a little more adaptive. If we go into the other thing I was going to show you, so there I got the quiz feedback based on their score. The other place I want to go in is to questions. So there's multiple ways you can get in there, but this is where I'm going to go to get there. So here are the people that have attempted this quiz and their relative scores. That's not relevant. Here's a histogram of it. But actually, I want to get out of here. Where I'm going to go is I'm going to go into Edit My Quiz. And you can see here the questions that are available. So this is my question writing screen. You can get to this in a different way as well. But if you want to edit the question, this is where we put the general feedback. Where we said, in here, we uploaded an image and then we hyperlinked the image. And the hyperlink is what's unique. So this hyperlink takes you to an explanation of this, the conflicting proportions that we talked about. That's how you can do it on individual questions. Here is an example question that is adaptive. So it's just a simple question here. So 11 plus 14, 25. Let's say I put 24. Oh, that's not right. So you can see I have a 0.7 penalty. So let's say I look at that again. I say, oh, darn it, that's 25. Now I check that. You can see over here on the left, I got a penalty of 0.7 out of 2, which allowed multiple attempts. So I did not get full credit because I didn't get it my first try, but I did get the opportunity to check it before going on to the next question. Now, as you can imagine, this doesn't have multiple attempts on true-false. So I can go to my next page, and here I can do the same thing. I can check it. I didn't get them all right. Looks like I got one right. So now I can go in here and change them, and I will have, I will lose points because I didn't get it right the first time, but I will still get more points than 0, assuming that I get it right the second time. So that's just an example of how you can use the adaptive mode with penalties as adaptive feedback as well.